Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dan Digman. Happy birthday to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jennifer Digman.
And this is Dan Digman.
Our birthday boy. And I apologize for the assault on your ears, but I wanted to celebrate my husband's 45th birthday.
And that's very, very kind of you.
And thank you, even though I sang, but you still said it was kind, so thank you.
And welcome to A Couple Takes on MS. And what we're talking about today, first off, thanking not only Jennifer for her serenade and happy birthday wishes to me, but thanks to Blue Draft Kid for composing the theme music for our show here on MS&Me Radio Network. What we're talking about today, and hopefully then you can catch on to this,
you can see what we're trying to get across,
is the gifts of multiple sclerosis. And we're talking, just because we're talking about birthdays, and yes, 45.
Yes, 45. That means 15 years ago we met. Wow. Boy, that long sigh, and time goes so quickly.
But just thinking about the gifts of multiple sclerosis, and I think that birthdays, and especially here for me on 45th birthday and 15 years ago, is just the reality is, and I think we have like your milestone years, anything with divisible by 5. You can remember, well, okay, so I remember this would be 15 years ago. It was my 30th birthday, and I remember I was sitting on the kitchen floor of my new apartment. I had been supposedly married to
college.
A woman that I dated in college, and we got married. And it just didn't work out. And I had moved out, it was only like 11 days prior to that. I moved out on September 13th, and here I am. It was on September 24th was my birthday. And I was sitting there, and honestly, everyone, I was staring at the floor, and I'm thinking, I'm 30 years old. I'm getting a divorce, and I have a chronic disease of the central nervous system. And I thought it would have been very easy to be depressed. And you know, those thoughts crossed my mind. But I honestly sat there thinking, this could be a great opportunity for me. I mean, granted, there was the thought that, I have MS and I don't have a significant other. I don't have this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do, and is this the start of the end for me? And actually, it was the start of great things for me, because 4 days later, I met Jennifer.
And interestingly, and I've said this before, I met Dan 4 days later on September 28th, 2002. But it was May of 2002 that MS started to affect my ability to walk. So here I am, 28 years old, and I'm not walking, and I'm single. And I'm thinking, how am I ever going to get my life together first, but find a significant other or someone to spend my life with? But I've tried to not dwell on that and move forward being involved and with the MS Society, and thank God I did, because it was at an MS event where Dan and I met. But it's hard to think of MS giving you gifts.
I think it's it's the one thing that those of us living with MS can do, and it's really easy to do, is to look at everything this disease has taken from us.
And it's very easy. And when I say that MS has given me a gift, I don't want people to choke on their coffee and say, how can you think that? But as we've talked about before, MS helped me focus my priorities and reorganize. And I'm sure probably everyone out there knows what I mean, where you can just, you realize that the little stuff is indeed little stuff, and you don't need to dwell on that. And fortunately or unfortunately, it shows you who your true friends are and the people that you can count on. And that is a gift in a strange sort of way that MS gave you.
And I think then too the gift of who your true friends are. So I guess it weeds out those who weren't the true friends, and that's not to say it doesn't hurt when they're no longer with you, but at the same time, I look at the gifts of the friends I've gotten because of my multiple sclerosis, because of my connection,
and the friends that you learn to appreciate, and you realize that your friendships are a little more rooted in, they have a stronger foundation because you really share a lot with people when you have the MS. And it seems, and I'm not sure if it's like this for you, Dan, but I feel that I'm so much more open. And if I meet someone who doesn't really want to deal with MS or deal with the realities of my life, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time on that. And that is a gift that MS gave me, that I learned what really matters and what's really important.
and I think it's that gift that obviously, yeah, I found you, but I think a lot of times it's not to say that like the gifts are going to be like just thrown under your Christmas tree where you easily can see it. And sometimes you have to look. It's more like an Easter egg hunt where you have to look. But it's the fact that staying engaged, staying active, staying motivated to be out there in the hunt to find these gifts.
And it's interesting, I'm going to be honest, and forgive me if I just talk about this all the time, but I'm sitting here, and yesterday my parents helped Dan celebrate his birthday, and we have a birthday cake sitting on the counter, and I can see it, and I want to eat it so incredibly. The deliciousness is overwhelming. And
well, because birthday cake, and it's a morning, and cake is like a donut, right?
If you think about it that way to reframe it, Dan. But I'm thinking about it, and the gift in a roundabout sort of way that MS gave me is that helped me focus and realize that it's not good to have a chronic illness, be in a wheelchair, and be overweight. So I've managed to lose considerable amount of weight, and I am maybe 15 pounds from like a little goal. Not maybe, I am 15 pounds from my next goal. And I see that white box of beautiful, sugary deliciousness. And while I want it, I know that that is not what's best for me. And So that gift, again, it's sort of a backhanded gift, but MS taught me I need to focus on my well-being, and I want to make the load a little easier for my caregivers, if you want to call me a load.
I was going to say, to me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just any little bit can help my caregivers, and it can help myself. So that, in a roundabout sort of way, is a gift that MS gave me.
Well,
Never mind the fact that I got a really cute husband out of it. So
well, and thank you.
you're welcome.
But you think about it in terms of like gifts, and it's just like, yeah, the gift that you have that perspective, and you know that you just don't eat the cake and everything. But then it's like on that level, is that like a gift? Is kind of like socks
Socks,
that you get that.
It's a practical gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not fun socks, like just your white functional socks that you need to wear under your tennis shoes. Oh, and they're very important, and they're like foundation. You gotta have your socks. Not today, because it's Michigan and
It's gonna be 95
crazy
degrees.
95 degrees. Mother Nature is just blessing Michigan with beautiful weather, but it's a little crazy that it's going to be that warm. Anywho, but about the socks,
Well,
the foundation.
the foundation, and you can appreciate those socks. I mean, at first, yeah, of course, you want to be able to eat that cake and stuff, but it's like the gift is it's like, okay, you can do this, and I think that those are just things, and that's where we as people living with MS and dealing with the realities of the disease have to continually reframe our thinking and our perspectives.
Yeah.
That it's just like, it's
That instant satisfaction is going to have longer term ramifications that you have to think about. And maybe it's MS, but maybe it's adulthood, where I realize that things have repercussions, and I think that helps me focus. I don't know. What do you think, Dan? It's just
it's just one of the things where what the other thing we have to do is the biggest thing is to keep yourself engaged and to do that, and as you're finding the gifts, even if they're socks and just but they can be fun or they can be practical, and I think that's where the fun stuff is that I think where we're living with this is the reality. I never ever, and we've talked about the advocacy before, but it's just like never thought that I would get involved with anything like talking to my government officials, doing this and being active in the legislative process. What a gift that was, that you open your eyes to saying, well, I could sit around and complain about things, or I could get engaged and go out there and do something about it.
And that is very empowering. I know that it has made me feel more confident and more comfortable with doing that, and just that gift that the action alerts give you to teach you about the issues. And everybody watches the news, and I stay informed and try and do what's best for not only myself with multiple sclerosis, but Dan and all the people out there living with this disease. And that's why we get involved with the advocacy. And interestingly enough,
well, and I think that's, Jennifer's parents being here last night wasn't just because of my birthday, just that we were recognized at Central Michigan University last night for the annual Alumni Awards, that we received the Service Recognition Award because of our advocacy and the work that we've done to increase awareness and advocate for multiple sclerosis legislation, and just being involved in fundraising and being keynote speakers and doing writing and everything. And that's not just to say, oh, look at us, but it's just the reality. that's the gift. I mean, this incredible award from, our alma mater.
Yes.
It,
And
it's just, that didn't just happen. I mean, that was just collective of us working and celebrating the gifts, or utilizing the gifts that this disease, we found through this disease. I don't think MS is there like Santa Claus just handing out
no,
gifts.
no, 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 nothing about multiple sclerosis and Santa Claus are similar. But maybe there's a little more than I guess I ever would think. And that's thus the crux of our show today. But MS has given us gifts, and it's important to realize them. And it's not, maybe you aren't getting huge gifts, but it's just to know that you can reframe your thinking and acknowledge and appreciate even the little things. I've been going to therapy, and I have a new therapist who's working with me, and yes, she is kicking my butt. And that's a gift. Maybe not a gift right after she gets done, but the next day when I can use my hands a little bit better, or when I stand a little stronger, that's a gift, and I'm thankful for that. Or if I can brush my teeth a little easier, or pick up my cup of coffee, which interestingly enough, I had a little meltdown. Sure, you all can acknowledge having those moments. I was taking a drink of coffee this morning, and I didn't focus as much as I should have. I've been having trouble with my right arm, and I spilled coffee everywhere, which was just enough to totally make Jenny turn into Jenny of 8 years old, where I just started to pout, and I realized I'm better than that. And I hope that I can continue to think that. Like, don't let that monster get you. So you got a little coffee on you, wipe it up, and try and move on. And just because it happened that one time doesn't mean it's going to happen every time after that. And that's one of those mental games that Dan can appreciate, where I'm like, yes, it happened once, but it didn't happen the other 7 times I had coffee. So look at it that way. You had the gift that you could take care of yourself for 7 times.
Well, it is. It's just, with the gift, it's just learning to celebrate every accomplishment, everything that we can do. And I think that's, it's so easy to say, oh, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But what did you do? I mean, what, and I think that's one of the biggest gifts, is just being able to appreciate it.
Right. And we saw someone who won an award last night, and he made a really, I thought, what's the word, babe? Like,
profound.
Profound, that's it, profound statement. And he just talked about surrounding yourself with people that are better than you to help you strive for more. And that, I don't want anyone to think that I'm like, oh, being down on myself. It's not that. It's just, if there are people out there who seem to have a better grasp on this disease, I want to try and engage with them. Or people like my Weight Watchers meeting. There is a woman who has met her goal, and she has lost a significant amount of weight. She's a terribly, terribly good friend of mine. Not terribly, a dear friend of mine. I'm sorry, used the wrong word. But she's a dear friend of mine, and I want to spend time with her because I hope that I can pick up some of her tips and mannerisms to tackle this weight loss that I'm trying to achieve. And Dan, I look at the way he handles his MS. If he would have spilled coffee on himself, he would have dusted himself off and moved on. So I'm trying to be a little more like that.
Well, and I think that's what we need to do, whether you have MS or not. I mean, it's just surround yourself with great people. I think that's, and it's not just people who have a level of greatness that you can dream to achieve. Like I said, I'm not going to hang around. Well, I wish I could hang around Tom Brady, but you know, there's no way I could get to that level. But I mean, certainly there are people within the MS community. I mean, within, you know, and these are my friends, and it's just like, how do I connect with? How do I stay engaged? How do I follow them? And I think, you know, with how Jennifer and I met, and it's just like, you know, it's just being out there and just continuing to put yourself out there. And I know that, you know, for some people it's not easy to get outside of the house and everything, but if you're listening to this program right now, you obviously have the internet and you actually are engaged that way.
And you are connected, and that is something we all need to continue staying connected to others in the MS community, and hearing the stories and sharing your story, that helps. And speaking of sharing stories, when I met Dan, this is one of my favorite things that he always said. He said, when you started walking, why did you start walking?
Well, I started walking, well, because after I met you, yes.
Yes, that's it.
Well, it's like after, okay, so I met Jennifer, and
I feel like I'm spoon feeding him this story, but it's
well,
really
I'm just
sweet.
thinking which story. But no, it's like, okay, so I met Jennifer like 4 days after my birthday, and it was at that point I thought to myself, I could potentially start a relationship with this girl, and I'm just like, I need to do what I can to stay healthy so that I can help her. And so I started walking. I started to every night, and I hadn't been doing that, but just every night I would go for, you know, walk for, I think, 2 miles.
Which is a humongous distance.
Oh, it's huge.
Especially now, 15 years later. But I encourage you to walk as far as you can, you know, or if you can't walk, lift your arm weights or ride your arm bike. Just stay active. And I think that's really important, just to keep yourself healthy for yourself. But then how sweet was that Dan, he always uses the phrase, I met a girl that I had to
It's a
stay
girl.
healthy for. And so, you know, he stayed healthy for me, and I have to stay healthy for him.
And I think that just, you know, and that, what a gift that was. I mean, that gift that encouraged me to go out and walk. But this is just case in point of how you never know what's going to happen, because, you know, at one point in time I also was running 5K races. I ran, and I wasn't like, you know, I'm going to win the whole race, but I was very competitive for myself, and but it's just the reality. I started walking for Jennifer, and then as I started to walk and realized that I could get my 2 miles in a lot quicker if I ran it, and could get home to watch Sports Center, I started to run those 2 miles. And once I hit that 2 mile mark, I was like, boy, all I need is another 1.1 miles, and I could do a 5K. And I had never done that before. And so it's just like, and how one thing leads to another, and it gets you engaged. And that's why, you know, continue to make those connections, continue to stay engaged, because you never know where that's going to take you or lead you. And I think that's why, you know, it's easy to have those moments where we look and see what did we lose because of the disease. But it's just like, there's a whole world out there of opportunities that are there if you just leave yourself open. It's not, you know, I didn't go down to the event in Frankenmuth, the MS event, on September 28, 2002, looking to find my lifetime companion and partner in crime.
Right.
But it was there, and I was just, make yourself available for those and be on that egg hunt, that treasure hunt, really.
You're right. And Dan had a boss at Central a few years ago, who, the most profound thing she said, I'm sure she said other, but she said the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. And so as Dan's talking about when he ran his 5Ks, or I'm talking about things in the past. When I could walk, I can't anymore, but look at all I can do. Look at what you can do. You're not running, but you're involved in advocacy. We have this gift of talking to you all on the radio, and things change. The disease progresses, but you can say the disease progresses, but your life needs to progress, and that's a gift that this disease gave us, that we can acknowledge that we've got to move forward. Look in that humongous windshield. Don't look at that little rearview mirror.
And that's where, because, and now, it's like the MS led me to walk and run and do everything, but it's the reality. I don't run anymore because the MS, my leg gets too weak when I ran, and I started to fall too many times. Never do I look to say, oh, that MS took away my ability to run. I mean, because there's other things I can do, and we're doing it, and I think that's where the advocacy, and it's not, I guess, pulling out the saying, if life hands you lemon, make lemonade. That's not, it's not like that, but it's just like finding the other things and the new opportunities that I never thought would be possible.
And that is a gift.
I was going to say, it's an incredible gift. And so now here I am, 15 years later, I'm in the kitchen of my house with my wife, and I do have multiple sclerosis and everything, but my birthday is totally different from what it was, when I turned 30. But this is my gift that I received. I just that I'm fortunate, and I think that's what, the encouragement for everyone is, to just continue to look and find and appreciate the gifts that we have every day.
And as such, we hope that you've enjoyed our program today. And again, please reach out to us at DanJenDig on Twitter, or DanandJenniferDigman.com. We would love to hear what you think. If you don't see any gifts in your MS diagnosis, we would love to read those comments, and hopefully you do see gifts, that we've helped you reframe your thinking. And if you'd like to share that, please reach out to us. Thank you for being with us, and we will talk to you next week.
Have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.